Hey everyone, Spencer the Knowledge Pharaoh from Sky Sports' Ringside Toe-to-Toe Boxing Podcast and hashtag Toe-to-Toe. Listen up, give Sporting Icon a follow.
Alright, so I've just got through watching the one and only interview that Mark Breland has done since the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fight, and of course all the allegations from Team Wilder and his absolute toxic fan base towards Mark Breland. And Mark Breland has been coming under a lot of fire, which is ludicrous for me, absolutely ludicrous. Anyway, the interview was done by Spencer Fearon and Tunde Ije. And I've said to you guys quite a few times, go over there, make sure you are subscribed to their channel. These guys do get the hot exclusive that other people don't get. And I know how difficult it is to get Mark Breland onto your platform. I've tried, I know quite a few other people have tried, but these guys have done it. So go over there, check it out. I've just briefly spoke with Spencer Fearon, and he has given me permission to use the audio and whatever if I require it. But at the end of the day, these guys have done the hard work by getting Mark Breland, so I'm not going to play audio, so you don't need to go over there. I want you to go over there and check it out, okay? Timestamp would be around about 49 minutes into the video about the Deontay Wilder subject. Before that will be about Mark Breland's career, but I do advise watching all of it. Now, when it comes to Deontay Wilder, Mark Breland, very, very difficult to get anything out of. I've been there myself, so I fully understand. I've had guests on that before where, I don't really want to be saying names, but like Ian Lewis, and that was very, very hard interview. One word answers, that kind of thing, and speak about himself in a third person. That was very difficult. But Mark Breland, he's a naturally laid back kind of guy, very, very quietly spoken, doesn't really like controversy or that kind of thing. And that's the kind of things I was sensing that it was quite difficult for Spencer and Tunde to get the kind of information out of him, especially when it came to Wilder. Because obviously, not only the character of Mark Breland speaks for itself, but at the same time, it's a case of these allegations are ridiculous. And that's pretty much the message that Mark Breland was trying to get across. I don't really need to answer and go in on Deontay Wilder and defend myself over spiking his water allegations. My character, my resume, everything speaks for itself. And he's absolutely correct. It does. Of course it does. And who would believe that Mark Breland, a Olympic champion, a former world champion, and American boxing icon, let's be honest, would do that to a fellow American and a guy that he's been in camp with for the best part of, 10, 12 years? I think pretty much since Deontay Wilder's debut, I think he's been there or thereabouts around Deontay Wilder. So why suddenly now would he do that? You would have to be a special kind of moron to believe that Mark Breland would do that. Forget about all the other excuses. All the other excuses are as bad as each other, but the one about Mark Breland is the worst. It's character assassination. It's accusing him of criminal activity, trying to ruin the man. For what reason? Because Wilder can't accept a loss. Now, Mark Breland, he did say that me and Wilder, we're done, and Deontay Wilder's career is over. Words to that effect. Now, is Deontay Wilder's career over? I mean, potentially, we could look at it and say, but Wilder, there are still plenty of big fights out there that we'd like to see him in. We'd like to see him take on Dillian White, Andy Ruiz Jr., maybe a bit down the line, Anthony Joshua, whether Joshua gets past Fury or not. We'd like to see that kind of fight still, and quite a few others. So from that perspective, no, his career's not over. He's still got a bit of a market out there that want to watch him. Okay, but at the same time, is it over in the sense of he can't do this no more? Because I've said for the longest time that Wilder is a loss waiting to happen. I've been saying it for years now. I've been telling you guys that he's going to lose at some point because you can't always land that big punch. History will tell you, it doesn't matter how powerful you are with that knockout, at some point you can't land it. And every time he performs badly, which is most fights, let's be honest, especially since he's become champion, where he pretty much loses every single round that he fights, but then he pulls out the ace in the hole, which is the big punch. So then the whole performance of that fight gets glossed over. But those who do question it, Wilder has excuses each and every time. Oh, I've had surgery on my hand. Oh, my back. Oh, my butt cheek was hurting. Or whatever it may be. Okay, there's always some kind of excuse. And his fan base, there's nothing wrong with supporting Wilder. There's nothing wrong with supporting whoever you want, and you should. But let's not go over the top, okay? They've been filling this guy's head with delusions that he's the next coming of some kind of messiah. Okay, with this big punch, nobody in the history of the heavyweight division punches as hard as him, and he doesn't need to train. He doesn't need to work on even the basic fundamentals. And even though he does actually have a very good jab, he just doesn't use it. but he always relies on the power. They've been filling his head with needless nonsense. Wilder's come out himself multiple times, outside the fact that he's been twerking and saying that he wants to be pregnant, but my power comes from some kind of ancestry spirit and things like that. And he's bought into this. It's warped his mind. That's exactly what's happened, and it's unfortunate. So when Mark Breland says that his career's over, from that perspective, maybe. Because it's one thing to lose and maybe come out with an excuse, like a David Hayward, a toe, or plenty of other examples. George Foreman, for example, he took the loss to Muhammad Ali very, very badly, as Spencer Fearon quite rightly pointed out. But these guys, I mean, you can pull out excuses, but these are just far and beyond the worst I've ever heard in my life. Worst I've ever heard in my life. You can say, well, the referee, I don't really feel was on my side, or the costume wasn't quite, or was too heavy, or whatever, okay? You can come out with one or two and people go, oh, come on now, that's just stupid. But he's come out with a whole shopping list of excuses. And it's criminal activity towards Tyson Fury by saying that potentially he's got a egg weight in the gloves. Of course, he's a natural cheat because he's a traveller and all this kind of stuff. But then Mark Breland, what's Mark Breland done? Other than try and help Wilder throughout his entire career. And as Mark Breland quite rightly said, when my guy wins, as in Wilder wins, I win. I don't want to lose. So that should pretty much speak for itself. It really should. And Wilder's, some of his fan base, I mean, some of them have seen the light. Some of them said, come on, man. You know what? We support you, but this is madness. Others are riding him like a rodeo. It's unbelievable. It's embarrassing. You can make excuses. You can defend your guy, but let's not go over the top it. You are advocating the legend of American boxing, arguably the best amateur that America has ever produced in Mark Breland, to spike his guy's water? Come on now. Come on now. So is Wilder's career over? From a mental perspective, maybe. Maybe. But anyway, go watch that video. Link in the description box below. It's, as I said, the Wilder situation is around the 48, 49 minute kind of mark. So if that's the only thing that you're really interested in, that's the point. Anything before then is all about Mark Breland's career. But as I said, I do suggest you watch all of it. Big up to Spencer Fearon and Tunde Ajayi. Fantastic stuff. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up. Subscribe. Catch you all in the next video.